welcome to the Good Doctors Diagnose for Wednesday, March 4th. We're the Good Doctors, as perpetually the Good Doctors. And for today's pop culture DVD, we're talking about one of our favorite movies that we have bonded over. We watched it again recently, and we were like, oh my God, this movie is genius. We're talking about Representation in Notting Hill. And you're like, representation? That movie's about a bunch of white people. You are right. Representation is not just about representing different people of color or multicultural people from around the world or different religions. It's also about different abilities, which we very rarely get to see done well, in our opinions, in feature films. And for us, when we were talking about like, what kind of pop culture things can we talk about? We were like, wait a second, there's some pretty good stuff that happens in Notting Hill about representation for differently abled people.
So the main character, Will, who's played by Hugh Grant, his best friend is in a wheelchair, and evidently Bella.
I had to look it up because I was like, I'm not going to remember her name.
Did not grow up in one. It came from an accident a couple years ago. And it is very quiet, the fact that she's in a wheelchair. It is something that is both a deal, because it is a deal, and something that has no effect on anything. And my personal favorite scene is at the end of the movie that talks about representation. At the end of the movie, all the friends are piling into a very, very common European car. It looks like a Peugeot, I think, that is tiny. And Bella's on the curb still because her wheelchair won't fit with all these other people.
And she's just like, bye guys,
she's
have
like,
a good
it's
time.
fine. Like, she clearly resigned herself to this, and it's fine, no bother. And her husband is like, bollocks, she's coming. Makes everybody get out of the car, puts her wheelchair in there, and that. And I am not differently abled, but I am somebody with chronic pain. And I often just go, okay, guys, bye. And the moment where somebody else goes, no, I'm going to rearrange this all for you so that you can still participate, is really special in a way that it spoke to me. And also, I first saw this movie in middle school. Sorry, we're old.
Aging ourselves here.
Yeah.
Late millennials here.
Late millennials.
It's us and Mayor Pete.
And I think that this may have been the first time I saw a movie in which somebody was in a wheelchair that wasn't a punchline.
Yeah, and I mean, that's for me, when I think about representation in this film, again, what they did so well. Because a lot of times when you see differently abled people represented, it's at the butt of a joke. There's a joke made about it. I thought they diffused the situation the first time when Anna comes over for dinner and like meets her, and she diffused the situation. Bella obviously very well used to diffusing the situation, but that was one of those moments where it was a deal because it's obvious that it is, but not a big deal. And it normalized it and humanized it in a way that we don't often see. Bella was, what I remember more about her character was that she was a super smart lawyer.
Yeah.
Than that she was in a wheelchair. And so making it more about like expanding that idea of them as a person instead of just the person who is differently abled, which is something that may seem like a rather obvious thing to do. But a lot of times when we're representing things in film and you're not a major character,
you become a caricature.
It's not something that's well done.
So we would love to hear from people who have experience potentially living in a wheelchair or living with a wheelchair, however you term that phrase. If we're far off and this representation is not great, we'd love to hear that. We'd love to hear other instances in which you experienced art, you experienced someone else's story through art for the first time in a way like this. In the meantime, we're the Good Doctors, and we'll
see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.